You know, for centuries, we've had this picture of the universe as a giant, predictable machine. But what if that's not right? What if, at its most fundamental level, reality isn't made of separate things at all, but is actually one single, interconnected web? Today, we're going to explore how a truly bizarre idea from quantum physics is radically reshaping our deepest ideas about, well, everything. Reality, spirituality, and even our concept of the divine. Let's unravel this cosmic thread together.
We are really in the middle of a massive shift in thinking. On one hand, you've got the old view born from classical physics. This gave us a clockwork cosmos, a universe of separate predictable objects, and a God who is like a distant watchmaker, the one who built it all and set it in motion. But the new view, which comes from quantum mechanics, well, that suggests an entangled web, a holistic reality that points to a divine presence that's within the universe, not outside of it. And that's our journey today, from the clockwork to the web.
So, to really get where we're going, we first have to understand where we've been. For hundreds of years, our picture of reality was pretty much dominated by one brilliant mind, Isaac Newton. His laws of mechanics, they gave us a world we felt we could finally understand, predict, and even control.
And here's where the science directly shaped the theology. You see, if the universe is just a collection of separate parts, kind of like billiard balls bouncing around according to fixed laws, well, it leads to a pretty logical conclusion about its creator. This gave us the divine watchmaker, a transcendent God who built this incredible machine, wound it up, and then just let it run on its own. It's a very neat, very tidy, but ultimately a very detached model of both the cosmos and God.
But then, in the 20th century, physics took a very, very strange turn. Down in the subatomic world, the neat rules of the clockwork cosmos just fell apart. And one discovery in particular was so bizarre, so counterintuitive, it completely shattered that old mechanical model.
In this right here, this is the central question that quantum entanglement just forces us to grapple with. I mean, forget everything you think you know about space and separation. How is it even possible for two particles, even if they're on opposite sides of the galaxy, to be so deeply connected that they act like a single entity? Now, this isn't science fiction. This is a proven, demonstrated reality of our universe. Okay, so let's break it down. What is quantum entanglement exactly? Well, at its core, it's a phenomenon where two or more particles get linked up, and their fates become fundamentally intertwined. You have to think of them as a single system. So if you measure a property of one particle, let's say its spin, you instantly, and I mean instantly, know the spin of its partner no matter how far away it is. There's no signal sent, no travel time, it's just an immediate, unbreakable connection.
This whole concept was so profoundly weird that it deeply unsettled even Albert Einstein. He was the one who famously, and pretty skeptically, called it spooky action at a distance. He just couldn't accept a reality where information could be shared faster than the speed of light. And yet, experiment after experiment has proven that this spooky connection is very, very real.
So what's the big takeaway here? The philosophical implication is huge. If particles aren't really separate, the entire foundation of that clockwork model just collapses. Entanglement suggests that at the deepest, most fundamental level, the universe isn't a collection of individual things. No, instead, it's an indivisible, holistic web of relationships. Separation, in some very real sense, might just be an illusion. Now, this dramatic shift in how we scientifically understand reality has, maybe not so surprisingly, become really fertile ground for new spiritual ideas. I mean, if the universe is an interconnected web, what on earth does that say about the nature of divinity? This new science has inspired some truly fascinating spiritual metaphors.
The first really big shift is moving away from a God who is separate from the universe. In an entangled cosmos, the divine can be seen as the very fabric of existence itself, the intricate, beautiful pattern of connection that unites everything. So divinity is no longer some monarch ruling from on high. It's the immanent, underlying unity of everything that exists.
And that leads to another really profound idea. Think about it. How does one particle know what its partner is doing, instantly, across vast distances? Physics doesn't really have an answer for that yet. But for some thinkers, this is a powerful analogy for a kind of universal consciousness, that maybe our individual minds aren't just isolated sparks, but are more like localized currents in a vast cosmic ocean of awareness.
And then you have the related idea of the observer effect. This is the notion that particles exist in a cloud of pure possibility until the moment they're measured or observed. Some spiritual interpretations take this a step further.
They suggest that consciousness isn't just a passive spectator watching the universe happen. Instead, we are active participants. We're co-creators in the shaping and unfolding of reality itself.
This entangled worldview also gives us new ways to think about those traditional divine attributes. Take omnipresence, being everywhere at once. The old model imagined a being literally in all places. The entangled view suggests something way more elegant. Omnipresence is just the fundamental interconnectedness of the whole system. And likewise, omniscience, knowing everything, isn't some cosmic mind storing data like a computer. It's the total information that's already inherent within the holistic system of the universe itself.
Okay, now at this point, it is absolutely essential that we just pause and draw a very, very clear line. We've been exploring some fascinating philosophical ideas that are inspired by science. But here's the thing, inspiration is not proof. It is so crucial to distinguish between a physical theory and a spiritual metaphor.
These two domains, they just have different goals. Science uses math and experiments to describe physical reality. Spirituality, on the other hand, uses analogy and intuition to explore meaning and purpose. Physicists are, and they are rightly so, very cautious about making these kinds of metaphysical leaps. Entanglement doesn't prove God, it simply offers a new language, a new framework to talk about these ancient questions.
And that right there is the real takeaway here. The cultural and spiritual power of quantum entanglement isn't that it proves any specific theology. It doesn't. Its power lies in its capacity to serve as a new, profound, and scientifically grounded metaphor that allows us to imagine the universe and our place in it in a completely different way.
So, where does all of this leave us? Let's quickly recap the key shifts we've seen on our journey into this entangled cosmos.
We've really traced a profound evolution in how we think. Our model of the universe has gone from a machine to a web. Our image of the divine has shifted from an external monarch to the very fabric of existence. And even our own role within reality seems to have changed from being a mere spectator to an active participant. And so we end with this question, which, when you get down to it, is really the heart of the matter. It's a question science alone can't answer, but it's one that the strange reality of quantum entanglement compels us all to ask. If separation is an illusion, if reality is fundamentally a single indivisible web of relationships, then how does that change the way we treat ourselves, each other, and the world around us? It's a thought that really could change everything.